Okay.
So when I do a full soul reading, I kind of do where you are, where you're going. Usually it's just one humongous line in the middle, line isn't the right way. It's like two things that come together in the middle, but this one, there's three. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what that says.
That doesn't surprise me any. My mother used to tell me I needed to write a book. And she said, I said, but Mom, I have to sell it as fiction because nobody would ever believe it. I've never done anything the normal way. So that doesn't surprise me.
Real life is so much more interesting than fiction could ever be. It's just crazy. So where you are right now, you have two anchor cards at the front, which I kind of see why now. It is what it is. But so you have the envy card upside down, but then you have the drama card and it's almost sideways. It's like this, because when it flung out, it spun around. So it's not quite all the way sideways, but almost. Then you also have calling the storm, but it's upside down as well. So that tells me that you're actually in a much better place than I think you give yourself credit for, where you've quit being envious of other people's paths, of the normal, of, well, why do they have this and I don't have this, or I've been on this path longer, whatever, all of it. You've just kind of stopped looking at other people as rivals in a way. Because of that, that's why that drama card is turning sideways. Because of your shifting way of looking at everybody and everything around you. It's removing the people that are causing the drama, removing the people that are no longer in your highest good. Like they're just kind of falling off, I guess, as if that makes better sense. They're just kind of falling off because they still want the drama aspect and you don't.
Yeah. That's kind of strange because I don't really feel, for me, it was my kids, right? Mm-hmm. It was everything being given to them. They were the sole focus of my life. And then one day I woke up and said, wait a minute, they're grown and I don't need to do this anymore. And I can do me now. Mm-hmm. And what does that look like? And so they're kind of not my focus anymore.
Right.
Of course, are my kids, but that's not, when I think about what I need to do, they're not the first and foremost factor.
Right.
When I'm trying to plan or think or whatever, now they're there, but they're not the primary focus, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
now that's happened. It's
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That also, well, helps. It also explains a little bit of that calling the storm being upside down. All of this talks about a calmer, more balanced aspect of you, not the go to bat for everybody, the get in the middle of everything, which when you have kids, especially, you just end up there. Like it is what it is with friends in school and their friends. Yeah. It just, you end up in the middle of all the shit. I don't miss it. My youngest is 15 and I don't, I don't miss elementary, grade school. I don't miss any of that shit at all.
Yeah.
So you're actually in a much better place than you think you are. So you're not giving yourself enough credit there, basically, which is a good thing. Speaking of kids, there are some outside right now screaming and playing. I'm like, what is up with y'all? Like it is dark. Well, now I have an interesting question for you. So up to this point in your life, have you kind of felt like you had a curse on you?
Yes. Oh my God. How'd you know that? Oh my God. That's so funny. I had to call April, you know, April Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
We worked together, and I was like, listen, I'm telling you, there's something that is just sucking the life out of this house. There's something here. This house is sick, but it's not normal sick house, you
Yeah.
know, like with mold and stuff like that. It's something else. And we had accidentally dumped somebody's ashes that used to live here into
Yeah.
the yard. But we didn't know it was his ashes. We thought it was something, we didn't know. It didn't look like an urn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just didn't.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. God forgive me. But anyway, so we dumped the man's ashes out in the yard. And so she said, oh my God, let me call Meemaw. So she called Meemaw. Meemaw said, okay, this is what you do. And so she told us to do the white candle and the coffee grounds, you know, and hold a funeral, you know, and the whole
Yeah.
thing. And so I did that, and it was weird. It was like this breath of fresh air. I mean, like fresh air came into the house.
Right.
We could actually, and this house is a smoky house. There ain't never no fresh air in this house unless you open the door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there was no doors or anything open, and we could actually smell the fresh air. And it's like, I've actually been able to have some, I had such a bad energy drain. I swear I thought I was going to die. That's how bad
my
the energy drain had gotten. I was like, I got to come up with something. Or I said, or I'm just going to be drained down to the dregs.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and it seemed to work. Please tell me it did.
Well, this is kind of like where you are right now. This is your path right now, soul wise. So a lot of, well, let me show you the cards first, and then we'll go from there. So your anchor card there is the curse, which I was like, okay. But then you have the divine feminine card, and it's hard to see. It's real pale, and it's hard. It's just hard to see on camera. But then you have change, and you have let go of a fixed plan. Then you have the power card. This is why you're feeling crazy lately. So we'll talk about it in just a second. And then you have the evolve and expand card as your healing card. So part of why you're feeling crazy, why you're feeling like things are going on, why you're feeling like you're getting pulled every which way is because you are. Something has shifted with, I don't feel like it's so much a curse as it is probably some karmic things you had to clear up in this life. And now that they're done, now that they're cleared, you have all of these things coming in to sweep the rest of that out and push you forward and change. So you need to get back in touch with your divine feminine, with yourself, with who you are as a person, as a woman, as a spiritual being, as your soul, etc. You need to get back to doing what makes your soul happy. And I have a feeling, just seeing some of these other cards, that you may not even know what that is at this point. Sorry, I'm looking at numbers too. There's also 2 35s here. So I would totally, like, 2 different decks, and they're right next to each other. So I would advise looking up what the number 35 means. But change and let go of a fixed plan. And that card in particular is talking about allowing for things to grow. You're going to continue to get pulled every which way, and you're going to continue to have a couple different things happen. I'm having the weirdest sense of deja vu right now. It's not even funny. You're going to continue to have your power go through the roof spiritually with what you're seeing and hearing and knowing and so on. You're also going to have a lot of shifts in your life in a very quick manner. I would say within the next 3 to 4 months, probably 4 months. It's going to be a lot, and you are going to feel crazy. You are going to feel like you're the only person this is happening to. Like, I have no fucking idea what's going on, but something is shoving you forward. Something is shoving you forward. You aren't alone in that. There's a lot of people right now, myself included, that are getting shoved forward. And it's so funny that this is coming up in your reading today. And I'm kind of glad now that we didn't have it tomorrow or yesterday, I mean, because I'm fixing to put out a video. I sat and deciphered a whole bunch of different travelings that I've been doing recently. And one of them, I was like, no, this is not for me. This is for a whole bunch of other people, and it really has to do with this exactly. So it's kind of interesting. It's interesting, but you have a massive amount of personal power and spiritual power that's coming your way, and it is going to be overwhelming. You're just going to have to go with it. When things change and shift inside you, you're going to have to just kind of take a deep breath and go, okay, this is what we're doing now. Okay. It's going to shift and turn you so much to put you where you need to be next. But like I said, I mean, girly, I'm sorry. It's a lot. I'm just letting you know, like, it's a lot. It's a lot. But
that's what
I
the cards keep telling me.
I do love that whatever it was you had to do karmically, you did. It's done.
Wow. I wish I knew what it was.
So
I kept getting cards saying I needed to work on ancestral karma. I'm like, how in the world do you work on clearing ancestral karma? I said, what even is that?
yeah.
You know,
I'm one of those people. I don't really believe that we can clear up our ancestors' karma, because they're going to be back here eventually.
right.
Every soul gets their own karma. So
I
I'll
think it was
happily take care of my bullshit, you know, but like, I don't think to put somebody else's karma on their granddaughter, great granddaughter, great niece, what, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I don't think it, well, when I researched it, it wasn't people's personal karma.
mhm,
It was more like our family tree karma,
mhm,
where maybe in the past there were, people who were, let's say they were blue collar workers,
mhm.
right? And now we've moved beyond that, and we're white collar workers now. And so our ancestors are like, what, we're not good enough? Did you think blue collar wasn't good enough? Or where there was abuse in the family line, and now we've taught our children better, so we're not going to repeat those
Yeah.
family patterns more so than personal karma. So I don't know, maybe that's what it is. I have no idea.
That's
Weird.
what I would say, especially if you have cards that talk about it repeatedly. I would say it's something like that. Well, remember how I told you to look up the number 35?
Yes.
Okay, so the last two cards in that line were from two different decks. They were side by side, and they were the number 35. The anchor card in this deck on this line is 35.
Wow. Huh.
So, and what's funny is the end card going into the next deck is 36, and it's a totally different, I don't know. You also got that curse card is number 14, and the first card here is 14 as well. Like, beside, it's just interesting. But the 35 thing is, okay, now I gotta know. I'm like, now I need to know. Oh, damn it, I have cards all over my keyboard. So now I gotta move these and shift these, because now I gotta know.
I wish I could figure out what the cards mean when they keep saying you have to choose, you have to choose, you have to choose. I'm like, I've chose, damn it. How many more choices do I got to make?
Right? Motivation, creativity, and imagination, adventure, vision, and opportunity. It's also material business gain.
Be in there some damn where.
Yes.
I have a job that I am, oh my God. They are the most draining people on the face of the planet, but I call that job security, because basically I am Google for the entire company.
Gotcha.
The entire company. Can't nobody seem to know nothing or do nothing. And even when I try and let them do it on their own, I still end up with the mess afterwards when they messed it up because they didn't do it right. I'm like,
I understand. My dog's gonna bark for a minute. My son is here. There we go. So I just find that very interesting that you had 3 cards in a row out of 3 different decks that had that number, especially when it rolled over into this next line. So this middle line here, you have the medicine wheel as your anchor card, which I find interesting considering that line before that was talking about all this crazy spiritual power and things like that that are coming your way. The medicine wheel in this deck encompasses all the elements, all the directions. It's becoming more in tune with literally everything around you. And then you have the drifting card upside down, which here's the thing I like about that. That first line that we talked about was all movement and change and shifting and just every which way. This is calm. This is more like, okay, you have all these other things you have to do all this stuff to get to the path. But then you have the action card, the keep focusing on your desires, which is I deserve good things. You deserve good things. Then you have the universe card. And we're going to talk about the last 2 cards in a second. So it's like the next 3 to 4 months are to put you on your path. So a lot of stuff has to shift. A lot of stuff has to be removed, be brought in, etc. Like the next 3 months, especially, are going to be crazy turmoil all over the place in a good way. Sometimes you're not going to think it's a good way because there are going to be some people that are going to be removed. There are going to be new people come in. It's just going to be a lot. So my best advice there would be you just kind of have to take a breath and walk through it because it has to happen. It's going to put you on a more straight and narrow path that you need to be on. But that path isn't one that just sits still either. Once you get on that path, it's still rocketing forward. The universe and then the keep focus on what you want together tell me that it's also going to be an amazing time of you manifesting what you want going forward. So make sure that you start really thinking over the next 3 months exactly what you want, where you want to go, what you want to have, what you don't want to have. Like seriously hardcore, you need to be making a list, manifesting, okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, because when you hit this spot here that you're finally on one path and rocketing forward, your manifestation is going to be through the roof. So fully take advantage of that.
Dang it, I like where I'm at.
The last 2 cards here though are ones I want to talk about because you have the trust card upside down. And then you have the create stability as your anchor card or your healing card at the end. That tells me that you, in this second phase right here, which is really about 4 to 5 months long, you're going to find that there are at least 2 people that you just can't trust anymore. So you're going to have to make the decision to cut them off because you need the path you're on at this point when it hits this to be stable going forward into the next part. I see now why there was 3 parts, because usually it's like one path that leads into the other path. But this is okay. I also now see why you keep having the number 3 show up. Okay. Your soul is really looking for balance. You're in the middle of the teeter-totter right now, where it was all the way down before with everything bad that kept hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. And now it started to shift a little bit. You're kind of in the middle before it goes like that. So that's why all this stuff has to happen. So it'd be like if you took a whole bunch of marbles and put them on one end of the teeter-totter, and as they roll to the middle, it's like they all rush down to the middle really quickly, and then they kind of stop slightly just because you're at that point where they're all rushing down to the middle. This is when they're starting to slow down a little bit. So I'm really curious to see this third line. Because this 4 to 5 months here is really creating stability for your soul and going forward. I'm curious about that medicine wheel there. And so I'm hoping that this third line gives me a little more information into why that medicine wheel is there, because usually when that happens, that tells me, or when I see that card, that tells me that you're fixing to walk a path where you need to be doing something specific spiritually.
I feel like I opened the door for a breath of fresh air and the roof blew off.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask for all this. Or did I?
Well, there are no threes in this second part, or this third part, which is funny because the first two lines were just littered with threes, 13s, 35, 36, like there were just threes everywhere. There's still sixes carrying on into this side, but not a ton. So this one, the starting off card is the Coyote, which in this deck is a trickster card. Being that it's upside down, I really like that. It tells me that those people that are no longer trustworthy and no longer working in your best interest, removing them is going to set you on a much more calmer path. Because you have the disowned self, which is, this card in particular talks about planting roots back as yourself, getting back to who you are. Then you have thriving. Then you have everything is as you've created, which this is why that manifestation was important, because you can literally manifest your own reality, have what you want going forward. Then you have the Seeker card, which is interesting. And to make it even funnier, you have the reflection card at the end, which is reflecting on life experiences. So I'm like, okay.
Oh boy. That's me all the way around. Always doing shit ass backwards.
Well, I don't, it's not so much that, it's that these next two phases that we talked about already to get to this third phase are really, really important, like super important. This turmoil and the change and the stuff that's going to be going on over the next 3 to 4 months is really important, even though it's craziness. That second part we talked about, which is about 4 to 5 months, it's a lot of balance and clearing things out and really manifesting where you want to go. It's like all this craziness and then suddenly laser focused and rocketing forward to this. But that Coyote being upside down actually makes me really happy, because it tells me that in pushing those people off your path, cutting them off your path, really, you start to tie your roots back together where they've been kind of crazy and everywhere over all the years. This also just talks about thriving and being able to have everything you want, that you're manifesting everything you want. The Seeker card right there, what I said is interesting about it is that's kind of an abundance card in that deck. It's because when I first saw it, I was like, why the fuck are there teeth on this card going into this girl's hand? But teeth represent abundance. They represent money, financial wealth moving forward. So I like that everything in this third line is good. It's okay. Cut that stuff out. Now you can move forward with where you need to be. It is going to cause you to reflect a lot on life experience. And I'm dying to see these other cards over here now. Okay. Well, after reflecting on life experience, where you're going is you have gilded regret upside down, which tells me that reflecting on a lot of that life experience, you realize that there are things that you've been holding a little too tight that you don't need to regret. Like they're not your thing to regret. They're not your thing to change, to feel bad for. But here's what I really like. This is why I couldn't help but smile when I turned it over. It's the prosperity card in this deck. So whatever it is you're heading for, whatever it is you decide, I would say after this turmoil, and once you hit that narrower path rocketing forward, whatever it is you manifest works out amazingly well for you. Amazingly well for you. And I love that you ended with the prosperity card. That's just like the best thing ever. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay. I
I'm
was like,
here.
it got really quiet. I was like, uh-oh, I lost her.
No, you didn't lose me. I'm just like, gee. Ugh.
So it's a lot of craziness going forward, but it sets you up. It's to set you up how your soul is supposed to be in this life. I think that you've probably, when you were younger, overlooked or missed a lot of signs and a lot of your calling. And now it's the universe shifting you back to that is what this looks like to me.
Right.
So it's a lot. It's going to be crazy, especially over the next 8 months. But I would say this really puts you on the path your soul is supposed to be on in this life. It shows you exactly what you're supposed to be doing and puts you on that path and allows you to walk that path, fully walk it instead of skirting it or crossing it, coming back. Which is a good thing. Not many people are able to do that.
Right.
So
I feel like I've been doing that my entire life, crossing past it, going over it, and then going away and coming back and going away and coming back. And I've pretty much done that for as long as I can remember.
well, it seems like you're fixing to get set on that path hardcore. Like the universe picking you up and physically putting you on the path going here, right here. This is where you walk, right here. So, and the thing is, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah, that's kind of the feeling I get. I'm like, because I'm kicking and screaming and dragging my feet the whole way and going, wait a minute, wait. And it's going, no. And I'm like, well, damn it. I guess I'm too hard headed for my own good, I guess. And it's like, it's finally said, okay, enough's enough.
I get that on a very, very, very deep level. Trust me. I really, really do. So.
Wow, with April, you talked about her star seed or whatever, and I was like, oh my God, please just don't let her tell me I'm a lizard. Lord.
I have yet to come across somebody who is. I mean, I've had a couple people that have had starseed readings that were draconian, which is really close to that, but not quite. But they weren't like full on. Most of the time, people that are in those starseed realms, they really skirt the metaphysical because they know that a lot of people that operate in this realm see right through them and see who they are.
Right.
So they tend to be really high up in business. They tend to be politicians, like things like that, where yeah, they're very good at keeping secrets. So
right. Do any of these cards happen to tell you what my gifts are, if any?
they don't.
Dang it. Oh,
But
the universe hates me.
I will say that disowned self card, that right there is getting, like I said, it's getting your roots back to where they need to be. So I would bet you probably had a lot of gifts when you were younger and you either shut them off or were told to shut them off or just got scared of them and quit using them. So they're there. This is getting you back. That's why all this turmoil has to happen and shifting and so on. to get you back exactly where you need to be.
Right.
So
I really feel strongly that I have what I've been, I'm, I'm so analytical. It's pathetic, right? I'm like, you ever seen that movie with Johnny Five, the robot,
yeah.
and it runs around going input, input, input? That's me. Literally, that is me. Right? The more input, the better. I've got like hyper focus disorder, I mean, that's me. So I live in my brain, very little in the emotions, right? I always keep the emotions disconnected. Didn't used to be like that, so I'm trying to reconnect them.
Right.
But I and I don't know if it's really true or not, but I feel like I have what's called like inner knowing,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like it's so hard to explain. It's like one step removed from me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I'll get into these like sometimes 2 and 3 hour like counseling session conversations with people sometimes. And yes, it's me, but it's not all me. It's like
Right.
it's being dumped through me. It's almost like a channeling thing
Yeah. That's what I was
where,
gonna say.
and it's like, and then after the conversation is over, I mean, I felt emotion, but it's disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't even recall, I can tell you sort of what all was said, but not all what was said.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, and what I do recall, it's more like a long-term memory rather than I just had this conversation, because it
Right.
doesn't feel like it's really, it's me, but not me. It's
Yeah.
weird. It is so weird. And I've done it forever. And people just, I did it to this one guy. I met him one time and he come into the office and he was so annoying. And he opened the door wide open for me to I did feel a little bad for him, but he needed to hear it. I did feel bad about it though. I basically stripped his soul bare and told him all about himself. Like he was looking in the mirror and this is what you need to know about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran around for the next 3 days telling everybody on the campus I was a psychic. I was like, oh my God, please shut up. Quit telling people that. I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, is this really a gift or is it just my own ego and just good intuition?
Being able to channel is a gift. It really is. It just, you feel like you're crazy
Yeah.
because you know things that you shouldn't know and you don't know how to explain that you know them, but it's all at the same time not your voice, your thoughts, I don't know. I don't know if that made sense or not, but it's like it's somebody else's thinking in there.
Right.
Um, so it's really hard to explain. And then yeah, you really do feel crazy. You're like, okay, I'm schizophrenic and one of these personalities is psychic. Okay, cool. Like that's kind of how you feel. It's like, I don't know how I know this shit, but okay.
Exactly. So, and then you don't really want to tell people because they're like, these people are gonna think I'm nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And that's what you got to weigh out is if you embrace it and just fully walk in it, or if you kind of stay in the closet, let it out when you need to, or I would totally advise writing stuff down, like keeping a journal.
Oh, and that's so hard for me.
It is for me too. I have one on my phone.
Yeah.
So because I type way faster. Ooh, sorry. I type way faster than I write. But on my phone I can swipe at least. So I have a couple on my phone that I use. Just to kind of keep myself straight. If that makes sense. Like just to kind of keep things straight. Like
it does, because my brain moves at lightning speed, way faster than my hand can. So it's hard to journal because my thoughts already 50 pages down the road, or I write 50 pages to write a single sentence. It's like, oh, good grief.
Well, so I sometimes when my brain's going 90 to nothing, I will voice record it and then go back and write it down later.
Right. Yeah,
Because
that might help.
yeah, it gives me a time and date stamp. So I can go, oh, okay, well, this is what I said, 2 days ago. So I need to listen to that. So that's what I do. I love the voice recorder on my phone. It gets a lot of use. It gets a lot of use. So
Right. Maybe
I
I'll
used to
try
never
that.
mess with it, but now it gets, yeah, I use it for traveling. I use it for notes. I use it for dreams. I use it for everything, literally
Oh
everything.
yeah, and those dreams, they're weird. I've
Yeah.
got very vivid dreams. And sometimes I'll go back to the same places over and over and over again. And then I wake up and I'm like, was that reality or is that the dream? Oh, wait a minute. Nope, that's my dream place or
Mhm.
whatever. It's weird.
And that will happen more and more too as you start walking this path, because when you channel, it's almost like you start seeing other people's memories sometimes in your dreams, and it's just weird. It's just weird. Like, I don't know how else to explain it than that. But it's like, they're not your memories. Like, you've never been to this place. You don't know what this place is or anything like that. But you know it. Like, it's really hard to explain. It's really weird and really hard to explain at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah,
So
that's what this whole experience has been for me. Really weird and very hard to explain. I just can't explain it. People just,
yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of how it is.
yeah,
That's how the whole of it is. And people get very frustrated with it because we're taught to want instant gratification with everything. So we want everything done right now. The universe sometimes does it right now, but for the most part, it's like, yeah, no, I'm totally going to do this on my timeline.
right.
And that might be, 10 years and then the last of it in 2 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
get a lot of that in the cards too. Patience. Just wait. It's coming. It's coming. I'm like, well, when's it coming? Damn it. You're not giving me a timeline. You keep
Yeah.
saying it's coming. All this glorious, abundance is coming your way. The universe and the angels are surrounding you. They're behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got incredible this and that. I'm like, okay, well, when?
Mm-hmm.
Keep saying
Yep.
coming. I'm like about tired of these cards now. Come on. I just
And when it happens, which it looks like most of it's fixing to happen in the next 3 or 4 months for you, it's going to be craziness, and you'll have those days where you're like, can we go back to the patience part? Can we go back to that part? I just
yeah.
need a breather. I just need a breather right now. And yeah, it's
Yeah, I felt like that the last couple of days. I'm like, okay, I just need a break here. I just need a break. I asked, I know, okay, fine, but just give me a minute. Just give me a minute.
yeah, you're fixing to hit that crazy phase that we talked about first there. So, and when you do, it's absolutely insane. It just is. So get ready for that.
Okay, dokie. Well, is what it is, right?
It is what it is. Can't do anything about it right now.
Yeah.
So the second part, you can
Right.
start working on your manifestation and manifest what you want. And that right there is going to be through the roof. But
I don't want much. I just want enough to be comfortable. That's it.
yeah.
Me and my family. That's it. That's all I've ever wanted, but
Well, I'm glad that we had your reading today and not yesterday.
well, I figured it would be when it was. I'm like, whatever. It must obviously not be the right time, and when it's the right time, it'll happen.
Yeah, I told April, I was like, I got to reschedule it for Sunday. And she was like, okay. She was like, I didn't think you were going to, do any appointments on Sunday. And I was like, no, apparently I am. Apparently I am. So in the midst of all this other stuff, which none of it really got done today either. I got a few things done, but not as much as I needed to. But then I have to tell myself it's exactly what you needed to do today.
That's
It'll be
right.
okay. Just calm
Yep.
down. So,
Yep.
so that's where I'm at now. And so my son's here and I guess going to cook dinner, and yeah, he's over there on TikTok. Oh shit. All right, girly. Well, let me stop this. It always screams in my face.